Hi, this is Vanessa Baker with McHenry County Voter. Today we're here with Carolyn Schofield.
Yep, thanks.
So it's Schofield, not Schofield. Schofield.
Yep, thank you.
Who's running for District 66, which incorporates both southern McHenry County as well as northern King County. State Representative Mike Tryon has endorsed you, Carolyn, for District 66 in the position that he had served for many years. We're going to put a link in the article with the map for District 66 to see if that is your district. Thank you for joining us, Carolyn.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, I'm really excited to speak with you, and I'm just wondering, what led you to decide to run for state representative?
Well, first, I've lived in the state of Illinois all my life, and I went to the University of Illinois, as did my husband, Steve. And when we decided where we wanted to raise our family, we settled here in Crystal Lake, and we're very excited of the urban setting, that the small community feel with the nice downtown area. And we wanted to raise our family here. We anticipated that our children would want to raise their families here. And the older my kids get, with my oldest being only a couple of years away from college, we are now realizing that is not so much a reality as it used to be. Many of our friends, their children are now going off to college. They are not staying in state to go to college because they're finding better opportunities out of state, more affordable, better access to out-of-state colleges. And then when they're gone to those other states, they're actually now staying in those states, and they're not coming back home to Illinois. So I first and foremost wanted my family to have a good place to come back to. And I think there are so many people in the same situation as I am, and they want their kids to stay by them. I just did a recent task force as to why people are leaving the county, and I found the number one reason why people are leaving is our property taxes are too high. The number two reason is our business climate is not a good one. But the number one reason why people stay in a community or in a state is because of family. So they're leaving to other Midwestern states to stay close to their family. So I wanted to give them reason to stay here in Illinois and be really close to their family. So that's really the reason that I started down this path of wanting to make Illinois a better place to live.
Wow, that is wonderful. Thank you. What do you wish voters knew about you?
I would like them to know my qualifications for this position. I'd like people to understand and do research so that they understand the candidates in this race, and I am very different than them. Besides the fact that I'm the only woman in this race, I have a general engineering degree with an environmental specialization. I've worked in fire protection engineering and product liability, and I've taken that to both the municipal level and then to the county level through my position on the Crystal Lake Planning and Zoning Commission, the Crystal Lake City Council, and now at the McHenry County Board. So the qualifications that I have and the well-rounded background with my engineering degree, municipal, county, and my community service as well, I feel I'm the most qualified for this position. So I would hope that others see that as well.
Wow, thank you very much. I've also heard that you're a collaborative problem solver. Would you say that is true?
Absolutely. I like to work with both sides of the issue, understand both sides, continue discussions to move forward. I think that we need to work together. We need to have a very collaborative approach to issues and understand both sides and continue to work towards the better of the community.
Absolutely. That's great. And that's why we created McHenry County Voter, is for the betterment of our community. So thanks for talking with me on it. So speaking of the community, you've done so many things to serve the community. Do you mind if we go into that a little bit?
No, that would be great.
Okay.
That is pretty much my life. It always has been, ever since I was little. I would volunteer for the nursing home, volunteer for the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, and then as an adult and coming out here to Crystal Lake, I just wanted to continue with those efforts. So initially got involved with the civic service as far as on the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then once I had children, it kind of opens up a whole new world of community service in the school system. I'm currently the PTO president over at Lundahl Middle School. I was the vice president prior to that, as well as the vice president over at the elementary school. I've chaired pretty much every committee there is to chair within the school systems, And I also do team manager for soccer, and have done several other team manager positions. So the kids open up that aspect of it. My husband's also involved in that, as he's the president of the Crystal Lake Soccer Federation. So we have felt community service is really a big part of our lives, and giving back is really critical. So we continue to teach our children to do that, not only through our actions, but we get them involved as well. We do things like the Crystal Lake Community Harvest is our annual Thanksgiving morning tradition. We've done that for probably 8+ years, I'm guessing, and probably even prior to my youngest, which he's 10 now. So that we do bell ringing for the Salvation Army. One thing I wanted to mention also was I am on the board of the McHenry County Youth Sports Association, which is the international baseball tournament that is on an annual basis here in Crystal Lake. So I've sat on that board for about 6 years now. I was involved with the Bat Kid program prior to that. So my family has had wonderful experience with that. So not only sitting on the board, I also am had the homestay family, which all the international teams, their players stay with local families. So I've coordinated where those kids will stay at, and we seem to always end up with some at our home. We've had players from Sri Lanka, Brazil, Puerto Rico. So we like to get our kids involved in a lot of different community service projects, and then they learn a great deal. Especially on the baseball tournament, they've been exposed to all those different cultures and languages, and they've really learned a lot. You know, that this community in this world is not just about us; it's about a lot more than us, and it's about that big picture of life.
Wow, that's great. So also, you have regional planning experience on the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning Board of Directors. Tell me what that is. That sounds it's a very long time.
It is. So they call it CMAP.
CMAP.
Yes.
That's easier to say.
Which, not many people know it exists, but it is actually a very prominent organization. It is the regional planning organization for the entire Chicago region. So the board consists of 5 members of Cook County, 5 of the city of Chicago, and then 1 representative from each of the Collier counties. So I am the McHenry County representative. It is an appointed position. It's appointed by the county board. And then the mayor appoints the Chicago ones, and President Preckwinkle, she appoints the ones for Cook County. So it's a good group of people. It's a nonpartisan group that works together to plan the entire Chicago region and how we can be at the forefront within our country in our planning. And we then determine how funding goes to projects. So we have major capital projects. We have a 2040 comprehensive plan, which creates a vision for the entire Chicago region, and then how different capital projects would fit into that. An example would be the Route 53 extension. That's one of the major projects that's in the works right now that has been, a lot of progress is being made on that, and that would be incorporated into our plan. But one of my favorite aspects of CMAP is actually the Local Technical Assistance Program, which is grant funding for local organizations or local governmental entities. And in McHenry County, I've been a huge advocate of some of the programs that we've had through there. Most recently, we had a comprehensive economic development strategy. This was last year we had through an LTA grant, and that was creating a tri-county. We partnered with Boone and Winnebago County on developing an economic strategy for our entire region and how we can promote our economy and get businesses to want to come here. And more currently this year, we have a Fox River corridor study, which is an extension of a study that actually was done through a CMAP LTA grant previously south of us, and that will be taking the Fox River corridor, enhancing it, beautifying it, seeing how the downtowns along that Fox River can actually now start promoting and attracting people to utilize the Fox River and then utilize their downtown areas. So it's a wonderful program. It really is all about making the communities and the local communities better places.
Wow, do you mind if we could maybe link to what we were discussing?
That would be great.
The Route 53 extension, maybe and the description to that
That would be great.
Is that how you
CMAP
say
too
it?
has a
CMAP?
ton. Yeah, we can get a lot of links going there because
We'll get a lot of links in this article.
CMAP has a lot, and it's a very, very professional organization. All of their materials that they put together are just very well done, easy to follow, and very visionary. So
It's a great resource.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it is.
Thank you for serving on that. And also, you're serving on the McHenry County Board. Wow. So, and I know that you've led many initiatives on that. So, how long have you been on the McHenry County Board for, would you say? Is it?
I've been on there 3 years.
Oh,
so
3
since 2012, I took office. So I will be ending my first and only term that next year. So I have 1 more year left to serve on the board.
Terrific, terrific. Yeah, and if you, and maybe you'll have a new term.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm hoping to keep going here.
That's right. So, and you've led many initiatives, though, in McHenry County Board. Can you tell me, is it CMAP part of one of the initiatives you ran on behalf of the McHenry County Board, or is that completely separate?
That one I was fortunate enough to be placed into. A lot of what I have done on the county board has evolved actually from my previous experience of 10 years on Crystal Lake Planning and Zoning, and then being on the city council. Currently, I chair the Planning and Development Committee, which a lot of programming comes under that, which we had the Unified Development Ordinance that I was serving on that committee when we developed that. Last year we finalized that, tying all of our ordinances together in the county to simplify things and make it easier for residents to follow the process, and more comprehensive and more in line with what we were actually doing versus just creating ordinances to have them there and then voting differently on them. And then, so my planning experience, but also what I've been very fortunate is that, and when I was on Crystal Lake City Council, groundwater protection was a big part of what I did there, and protection of the Crystal Lake watershed. And then with my environmental background, I have been placed into roles also that have a lot of environmental aspect to them in nature. I vice chair the Stormwater Commission for the county, I vice chair the Natural Environmental Resources Commission, and I'm also on the board, the executive board for the Northwest Planning Alliance, which is a organization of all counties within the Chicago region that are groundwater fed. So McHenry County being 100% groundwater fed, protection of the quantity and quality of our water is a huge concern, not only for us, but for all of those that are also reliant on groundwater for their water supply. So I've been fortunate that everything kind of ties together where I'm at, and I've had a lot. Oh, and I forgot to mention though, at the county, two of the bigger initiatives I've had this year are task forces that I've actually chaired. One started in about April, was a census demographics task force looking at why people are leaving McHenry County, which I referred to earlier, that the property taxes and the business climate are the number 1 and 2 reasons why people are leaving. And then I also recently chaired the Township Consolidation Task Force, which was looking at the potential of consolidating our 17 townships into 8 townships. And unfortunately, well, it didn't work out as far as the initiative that was presented at that time, and we didn't move forward with it. But it opened a great deal of understanding of the issue, legislation flaws that exist and prevent township consolidation from being really an efficient and smart way of eliminating sort of layers of government. So I've continued to work on that at the state level. There's a new program, Transform Illinois, at the state, and they've asked me to kind of be their McHenry County liaison in working through this process to continue with the concept of government efficiency, shared services, and then the potential of eliminating line items from your tax bill. I know it's been a big push of the current administration, so we want to continue in making legislation easier for those to help relieve the taxpayers.
Great, and we'll put a link to Transform Illinois as well.
That's a good group that's just started. The kickoff was like a month or 2 ago, so it's just forming, and it's again a bipartisan group that's just working together to be more efficient.
Wow, That's
save
terrific.
people money too.
Yeah, that's always good,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Before McHenry County Board, you served on the Crystal Lake City Council. Tell me about that.
It was a great time. It was a good period to be on the city council from the standpoint of I was there when Three Oaks Recreation Area opened, so that turned out to be a beautiful facility. It was a fun project to watch develop and see people then enjoy. And I just kind of evolved into the city council, being on planning and zoning. It was a great natural progression to be on the city council, and then that developed my passion for the groundwater protection and understanding the impact that we have on the Crystal Lake watershed. And then that evolved into wanting to be on the McHenry County Board to carry that into there. And then
Because it's all connected.
it is, and it's all about the big picture of life, and every little part adds up to that big picture.
Well, thank you so much. So it sounds like you've worked really hard to serve our community, and as a resident of McHenry County, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. What issues do you think are most important to McHenry County?
Right now, as I mentioned, property taxes are on the forefront of everyone's mind because they're becoming so high and so disproportionate to where they used to be and where their home values are today. So we need to really focus on ways to relieve that burden to taxpayers, and one major way of doing that is to bring more taxpayers into the system. And the task force I previously mentioned, why people are leaving the county. When people are leaving, it's just placing that tax burden on the residents that are staying. So we need to really find ways, not only in McHenry County, but what I found in that task force is it's a problem in the entire state of Illinois. So we need to find ways to bring more taxpayers into the state of Illinois through that business climate, economic development, bringing more businesses here, wanting the businesses that are here to stay here and expand here, bringing with them jobs, and then the workforce will come. People will want to live in your community, they'll want to live in the state of Illinois, and then that will relieve the burden and it'll distribute that tax burden among a greater number of people.
Oh, wow.
For businesses to really want to come here, stay here, people to move here, and be able to move throughout their community, infrastructure is such a vital part of that. And relieving any congested areas, allowing easy access to those businesses, be it where they're working or where they're wanting to shop on the weekends. So that infrastructure component, we really need to keep on top of that and enhance our infrastructure. And the other part of that on the regional basis, going back to CMAP, is we're in Illinois and in the Chicago area in particular, we're the #1 freight area. So we have a huge freight a huge freight industry that we need to take advantage of, because we need to bring businesses here that can take advantage of that freight. And we're also in McHenry County so fortunate to be between 2 international airports, where now cargo can go out of Rockford, it can go out of O'Hare, and we need to take advantage of the fact that we're in such a good position. And right now I don't feel like we are optimizing those benefits that we have there. So that ties into the infrastructure piece, it ties into the business piece, and it also ties into just the overall quality of life. And part of that is the environmental piece I was mentioning. I feel we can do all of this in a sustainable way. And it's just a matter of changing your perspective, using things like green infrastructure, conservation design. It's just changing the way of thinking. Engineering, environmental engineering has come such a long way that there's a lot of things you can do now to make it a sustainable business infrastructure where you're building, and make it better for our future, and letting it exist for our future, because we were starting to get down a path of people were only concerned with here and now, and we need to be concerned about future generations and keeping our community how we appreciate it to be today for future generations.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful. So it sounds like you've had a lot of different projects. Can you maybe tell me about some recent projects you're particularly proud of?
The one I had mentioned a little bit before was the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. This one is just in the final stages of wrapping up. We recently went to public hearing, and the draft release of it is actually right now. So it will come back to the county board for final approval in a few months. It'll come to the Planning and Development Committee first. And this, as I mentioned, we partnered with Boone and Winnebago counties, found ways and strategies that we can utilize, we can optimize on the kind of gems we have within McHenry County. In one area I forgot to mention that I really find valuable is our agricultural community. One of the reasons we moved out here as well is to be near that urban setting, but also have access to that rural area. We've done that through our Unified Development Ordinance. We've allowed things like agritourism and made it easier for those agricultural properties to provide those type of services to the community. We need to continue to enhance that because it's more, agriculture is more than just growing crops. And we need to make it easier for them to modernize themselves, to remain part of this community. And that goes with the customer service, efficiency, and it ties into this comprehensive economic development strategy because we looked at where can we utilize where we do best right now. And agricultural is tied into there, machining is tied into there, education is a component of it. How can we be providing our residents a good workforce education? And it's just a very comprehensive approach to trying to attract businesses here, and it was a very involved process. I sat on the steering committee for that, which was, I did it from a regional planning standpoint. There were agricultural communities, open space, there were businesses, like Sage Products was on there, Syntegra was on there, so our good, solid businesses that have been here and remain here and are committed to this community, we wanted to learn from them. It's, why are you here, and what can we do to get others to invest in our community the way that you have? So that's one of the projects that it's most recent, and really proud of that one because I think it's going to open up a lot of doors for not only McHenry County and Boone and Winnebago, but for the entire state.
Wow, thank you very much for sharing that with us. And if we can find a link to it.
Yeah, that would be great because we still are looking actually for feedback on that one. So if people have, it's not too late to get feedback in. So we would appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, great. So what are your plans for 2016? Wow, I guess that's kind of
it's only a week away.
It's only a week away. Yeah, we're speaking right now just before Christmas.
Yeah.
So and we look pretty well rested, even though it's coming for Christmas. So it's kind of up in the air with for the election. There's an election in 2016.
I'm still busy. Yeah. So besides campaigning, that is taking up every minute of my day that the county and kids are not. But so the campaigning has been a big part of it right now. But I was also just appointed as chairman of the Regional Planning Commission update. We are at the county. We have a 2030 plan and a 2030 comprehensive plan, and we are now going through the update this year. And one of the things we will look at is how the demographics have changed, how the census information has changed, how that incorporates into that 2030 vision that we had. I believe it was 6 years ago now because we're about a year off in our 5-year cycle. But so how that's now going to affect our plan as far as those numbers. We had numbers that were much higher as far as the number of people that would be here. So does it have a significant impact on what our land use and what we wanted to do? I'll be chairing that committee. It consists of a resident from west of 47, east of 47, and then 2 members of our zoning board of appeals. We'll put forth recommendations if the plan needs to be changed or updated further beyond the information we're incorporating into that. So that is a year-long process. We have a deadline of December 2016. So that right now is going to be a big part of my 2016 is chairing that.
Sounds like
committee.
It's going to be a busy year.
Yeah, as always.
So tell me, So District 66, what towns are in District 66? I'm trying to provide a
Oh yeah,
helpful
it's a fun
information for
district to
people.
figure out because it's kind of, wide at the top, the narrows, and there's a little finger to it. I'll name towns, but it doesn't incorporate all of any one town.
Okay,
Yes.
good to
so,
know. Good
yeah,
to know.
so I will name them, but again, we'll need to check that map to get exactly where those borders are. But District 66 is 70% McHenry County. It's 30% Kane County. I actually represent right now about 35% of the district. So about 70% of my District 2, which consists of Crystal Lake, Lake in the Hills, some of Algonquin. That's actually about 70% of that actually falls within District 66 right now. But the other towns in there are some of Crystal Lake, Lake in the Hills, Lakewood, Algonquin, Gilbert's, Sleepy Hollow. Actually, most of Sleepy Hollow. I think that's maybe the only one that's almost all in 66. Carpentersville, there's a little bit of Carpentersville, a lot of West Dundee, a little bit of East Dundee, and it actually goes all the way down to Sherman Hospital. So there's a little bit of Elgin even in there. So yeah, it is a big district with a lot of communities. I'm excited though to be in touch with all those communities, and I've worked with a lot of them now already. So it's a good fit and.
Great. Well, gosh, that's really. Tell us, okay, in between all the work, the volunteering, everything. Okay, what do you like to do over the weekend? Do you get to relax a little bit, or what? Do you...
Well, our weekends are pretty much kids, and more kids. But I have 3 kids that play competitive soccer, and then 2 of those kids also play hockey. So we are known to have up to 9 games in one day. So that's pretty much our weekend, but that's why we've made it part of our lives. That's why I'm the team manager. My husband assistant coaches the 3 teams. So family is really when I'm not doing county stuff or campaigning, or in the schools, I am just spending time with my family. We do family things. We either hang out as a family or we go watch somebody play a sport. And that's pretty much what we do. So we occasionally will try to get a little bit of hobby, like sewing with the kids or making stuff, but or baking. The kids love to bake, but it's always based on family or community, and it's what bonds us. It's what makes us happy. So and it's what's giving back. We just have had that holistic approach on life. It's all about how we all fit together, and that's how I govern. That's how we live our lives on the weekend even. So, not a whole lot of time for many other things.
Right, but definitely a value-driven life.
Yes, we want to see what we can do to make it a better place than before we got into it. Jokes. I'll go back to kid jokes, and my daughter just got a joke book actually for Christmas over the weekend. So we've been listening to great kid jokes all weekend long.
Sure.
So I probably have a couple kid jokes in there, but it reminds us actually we went to Disney and we got on, I don't know if you've ever been there, with the Mike and Sully show, and you can enter a joke and then they put it on screen and Mike Wazowski tells a joke, and my son entered a joke and it was, why is 6 afraid of 7? You've got to know this one, because 7, 8, 9.
Oh yeah, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, so that one, or my other, he also, same, little comedian of the family, that third born, thinks he's really funny. And he did, why do seagulls fly over the sea?
Why?
Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be called bagels.
Oh!
See, kids will appreciate those.
Good joke.
Yeah, those are the kind of jokes I get, though.
Yeah, right, me too.
That's about as funny as I get, too.
That's good. Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much, Carolyn, for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule to come and speak with us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this, and thank you.
Thank you. And again, I'm Vanessa Baker with McHenry County Voter, a nonpartisan resource dedicated to the good people of McHenry County and the good people that serve them or hope to serve them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.